Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. I hope you enjoy, so let's get started.
It's finally here, the ballast for the TrafficVision. We've stayed with Phillips, keeping in name with the fixture itself and the lamp that is within. So, what did we get? Well, we got a 150 watt pulse start metal halide ballast. Yes, as you may have seen in a previous clip within this video or another video or whatever, the 150 watt high pressure sodium bulb from the UK and Europe works absolutely fine on the American 150 watt pulse start metal halide ballast, as has been suggested. So, no surprise, super happy with it, and here it is. Super happy that it's actually here, really. This thing is going to be massive inside of there. I really hope it'll fit. I think there'll be room, but it'll be a little tight. So, this is new old stock. We have our ballast bracket here. And on this side, we have all of our wires and stuff. But we have our, is this a capacitor? Yes, it's a capacitor. And our holders for the capacitor and igniter. And we got some long screws to help us mount it to the bracket. And inside, of course, we have our ballast itself. Let's get all this out of the way here. There we go. There's our brand new ballast. Not bad for $25, I must say. So, yeah, this thing is wide compared to what probably was in there. I think it'll fit fine. It might be a little compact, but we'll see. Either way, I'm super happy to be keeping this all original. Igniter. Does it say anything on here about date? I'm kind of keeping an eye out for it. No, not really. Boy, do you think they twisted those wires enough? I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Okay. So, that is our ballast. I don't know if I'll have time this evening to put it together, but I'm really happy again that it's finally here. Here's our ballast enclosure. So, we just need to lift up on our clip here. It's hard to do this with one hand. And then our tray will come out. And everything we need, awesomely, is right here. Because we have our main power connection and lamp connection here. So all we need to do is wire everything up to that. And our other wires are right here. So we're going to have to get creative on how in the world this is going to sit in here. Because my goodness, that thing's massive. But at least at first glance here, it looks like it will fit. So I'm trying to find a way to implement the bracket that they gave us here to mount this most appropriately. And using some of the holes here, I know they're not the exact ones that, should be used for this, but it does get everything lined up just right. And we got all these washers here to hold this side. We have a screw here. Tried to match this screw, which was used for this, as closely as possible. For these two here, just looking through our random thing of screws. And it's nice and tight on there. So, that should allow us to place our ballast in place and hold it in place with our bracket here. It'll also keep it somewhat away from the plastic here. I'm guessing this is also some type of fiberglass. It kind of looks like it. And I'll keep it up as high as possible because you see here it's curved, but it's not necessarily curved here. I want to try to keep it away, from, hurting anything with its heat. Because this might get hotter than a 220 volt 50 hertz ballast. I'm not entirely sure, but we're working with 120 here, so it's got to, I would assume, do things a little bit harder to get the voltage to the appropriate level. Either way, let's see what we get now. We have our bolts in here. We're going to give those a try, and then we got to find homes for our capacitor and igniter. There's our ballast tray all wired up. We got our ballast all mounted up. with its bolts that it came with. So I'm happy with that. Tried to clean up the wires as much as possible, kind of looping them together, some zip ties and stuff, because there's a lot going on here. And of course we have our mains power all wired up as well. Now, I'm sure the capacitor and igniter that originally was mounted here was some nice vertical thing that looks so much prettier than this, just based on the holes that are down here for it. But zip ties will work for our ability here, and it's not right next to the ballast. Hopefully there's enough separation there with heat and whatnot. We'll have to see. Of course, this thing won't be operated 24/7, 365. It's there to demonstrate and enjoy. So, now that we have put together our ballast tray, yeah, it's heavy, and it's a tray with a ballast on it. It is now time, to get it in there, and I think I'm going to need 2 hands for that. It's in place. It does seem a little snug in there, but it's not rubbing or touching on anything, so I'm happy with that. And it popped right into place. Okay, now we need to get it up on the fixture and put a cord on the fixture. That'd be a good start, wouldn't it? And there it'll sit for the time being. I know I really wanted to have this ballast so bad to turn this thing on, and now I'm letting it sit because that makes a ton of sense, doesn't it? Well, I really wanted to see if it would even fit in here, and I'm very happy that it does, and everything wired up absolutely fine within the enclosure. The next step is getting our glass on the front of the TrafficVision. As you can see, that is currently still not on. I have that inside. Like I said, I'm keeping it safe. I don't want anything to hurt it. So that's why it's not out here yet, just sitting around. So I'll need to take the fixture down and get the glass on there. And of course, we need to wire it up. But I'm not just going to put a cord on it like I've done with all of these. Oh no. We have been provided with some wonderful extra items that we are going to wire up to this very cool street light. And, I mean, we have some area here to mount them up. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that, but once we get that all wired up and appropriate, we will finally be able to turn this thing on. I finally have the time to complete this project, and I'm looking so forward to it. So, obviously we have the TrafficVision in front of us, and it is finally time to wire it completely up so we can enjoy it turning on. Obviously, we got everything refurbished in the last couple videos and all that stuff. We got our ballast installed on the tray, and we now are going to wire up our leads and put a power cord on it. But we're not just going to do any power cord. We will obviously have a power cord, but we will use the isolator that was given to us by Agent Halogen to complete our setup here. After all, that is the natural way that it should be done, and I like that we have such a unique item to go along with it. So, where are we going to put this? Well, we do know that we want it near the fixture, at least in my operations here, so I think we're going to put it on the wall here, like this, and that'll go up to feed the lantern. But I'm also obviously going to need to open it up and give it a little bit of a clean. Going between the fixture and the isolator, I'm going to use their actual wire, because why not? Let's keep it original as much as we can, and then I'll put a power cord up into the isolator itself. So, I am going to get some of the wire, and we're going to feed it on through here, so we have ample amount to get to our isolator, and then we'll get it back up there and see what's inside of this, see how we can wire it up, get a cord on it, and I'm looking forward to turning it on. Oh, also, we have to get our glass panel on here. I haven't installed it yet. I've been keeping it safe inside. So we'll give this a clean and get that installed. We got a couple different things to do here. Here's our isolator. So we have our little screw here. We can open it up. I've given it a little bit of a clean. And we have this interesting slider thing here that I'm guessing you can, do between the two breakers or whatever. We have off, on. It's different, feels different than our American breakers. And of course, we have a screw here And here we can take off to get to the inside. And here's what's inside. We just kind of basically have a housing that holds on to the two components. It took me a little bit. I was trying to figure out how it was wired. But they have this nice little diagram here that tells you how, 2 goes to 1 and 4 goes to 3 and how they're disconnected. So I really like that. So obviously we have our kind of switch breaker going on here. But we also have a fuse on this side. So maybe it's not a breaker. Maybe it's just a switch. I'm sure I've been told. I unfortunately forget. But over here, we have a fuse. Now this is cool. It's kind of translucent. Made in UK. That's really neat. That is awesome. And it just sits down in there, and you close it up. So that's how that works. Now it isolates both, the neutral and the hot. So that's what's going on here. Looks like the hot comes in, it goes through the switch, it loops back around to our fuse here. And then we have our, I'm guessing the neutral comes out here, and our live is here. That's my guess. So that's how we're going to wire it up. Upon further inspection, before wiring this up, I was thinking to myself, there's not a lot of space down here to have all these wires come in and out. But then I was looking at the design here, and I'm like, there's this little channel that comes out of the side, and we have one here too, and that is just the right size for our wires to escape out the side. So I'm gonna guess that that would be our out, and down here is our in. Interesting. To keep our little fuse buddy here safe, it's rated at 4 amps. Now, I'm not the biggest intelligent person when it comes to fuses, but I'm pretty sure this ballast is rated for more than 4 amps. So we want to make sure that we can cover that, without making it go poof. So let's see here. It probably says there, what is that, 1.6 amps or so? Or I could be wrong there. Anyway, we're reading it upside down. Isn't that helpful? But either way, to keep it safe since it's different, we're going to put in one of our new ones here. These are rated at 6 amp, it looks like. So a little bit higher, just to protect our unique find here. We got one out of the package here. And I really like this design. Let's slide it right in there. That is so cool. Just getting one of the wires in. I really do love this clamp system. I wish we do it more over here. And the wire fits perfectly in this channel. I'm sure that's on purpose, but yeah, it certainly does. We got the wires installed and hooked up here on the TrafficVision itself. So they're obviously coming in down here, and they work their way up to our connector block here, which obviously will connect to the ballast compartment. And now we just need to get this back up there, feed these wires through, and connect them to our isolator. Before I get it back up there, of course, we got to get the glass on it. It's looking really good. In fact, I didn't even clean the reflector in here. I didn't even touch that during the cleaning process. Did the outside because it was a little bit dusty dirty, but did not even shine up the inside. That is all original. That's how clean this fixture has stayed over all these years. It's back up in its home, so all we need to do now is straighten out our wires here, install our isolator, get our socket in there, of course, and our ballast compartment, and we'll be good to finally turn this thing on. And there it is, all complete in its new home. It's all finally together. We got our wires here, a little longer than I was anticipating, but they go to the isolator. And there we go. So now, you know what time it is. It is time to turn it on. So, let's go ahead, open up our isolator here, and here we go. That is awesome. The magnetic ballast is super quiet. We got our super low pressure sodium-y color right here. boy, I was really questioning on whether that reflector could really throw the light really well, you know, but it certainly is. It's very bright right in this angle, as you can see. Yeah, it's designed very well. Got to get the wide angle here. That is awesome. Okay, well, obviously, this was a super successful project. I am so happy to have it here on display. We'll let it warm up. And again, a huge thank you to Agent Halogen for donating this to the channel. This was a very fun project. Of course, it is a brand new ballast, but it is even quieter than our old fluorescent here, which is already quiet, I consider. It's at full brightness now. Looks awesome. You know we be stopping at the thrift store. Picked up this interesting fixture here. As you can see, this is a Lumaline fixture. It's an incandescent illuminated tube, and it has an incandescent filament in here. Of course, as I always find these things, it doesn't work. These Lumaline bulbs are the most fragile thing in the entire universe. Every time I find one, they're always burned out. Now, I thankfully do have some bulbs for these because finding working ones are incredibly expensive. And I know there's somebody online that makes LED replacements, and boy do they know how to scalp you in getting one. Anyway, I picked it up because, well, it was only $6. And finding Lumaline fixtures is getting incredibly hard to really find any of them in good condition. This one is a bed light. It's got two little hooks on it there and some fabric on the back so you can hang it on your bed, and it had this cover on it here so you can direct the light. And as you can see, the cover has found its way onto this fluorescent tube. And the reason I did that is to show that the Lumaline bulb is the exact same size as a T8 fluorescent tube. I do believe this is a foot in length, so if you had a F13 T8 bulb, you could use this reflector on it. So the reflector itself and fixture really is worth the price for something so unique. I did have a bulb in this to test it out. The fixture works fine, but the bulb, of course, is, as always, not functional. How annoying. So, unique little fixture. We'll have to do a video on it someday. And picked up this G40 filament LED bulb. Now, I have 4 of these in the vanity light in the basement downstairs here. And I've always thought about just picking up another one just to have an extra of the Fight Electric brand, because that's the same exact thing that I have down here. But they sell these at the Home Cheapo for not a cheap price of about $13, $14. This one, brand new in box, I did test it, it does work for $3. Not a bad deal, especially, you know, I'll have an extra one around if something happens to the other 4, but they've been in there since I've got the house here, and that's been, what, 4 years now, and yeah, they have been working really well. So, that's really the stuff I picked up this weekend, the Lumaline fixture. And, well, there's other things to do, too. We have to find a home for these fluorescents. I got some bulbs here that need videos made. A whole bunch of other stuff to just kind of get cleaned up and organized. So let's see what we get into. Putting the video together, I realized I didn't really do any updates after that last clip. But we got the fluorescent fixtures put away. The manual preheat one I actually just stored away. It was too nice to really take apart, but if we ever need parts for it, we know where it is. We still have our Lumaline fixture here. It does work. I've put some bulbs in it. I have an idea for a project with it, just haven't gotten around to it. But we got everything cleaned off in this corner, so I'm happy about that. Now, one of these fluorescent fixtures, the F20T12, did get a new home in a wonderful location up here. Now, this is a nice spot for it because over on this side, I have 2 F15 fixtures that are used just to provide some extra lighting up high. But I always wanted one over here so that when I'm getting items down or doing anything with the high bay there or anything like that, there is additional lighting to see what you're doing up there versus just having the lights down here light everything up. So I got that installed up there. It does have a pull chain on it, so I can turn it off, but I've left it on. It just kind of provides some ambiance in the lighting department. So if we come around the vehicle here, you can see what it looks like on the other side, but I wanted to come over here because of this thing. Now this is an old Kodak safe room light for developing film that my father brought out here. He got at auction and I wanted to hang it up somewhere. So here it is. It has a little pull chain on it. It's got a little Sylvania 15 watt, I believe 130 volt bulb in there, as you can see. I'm thinking of putting a different type of bulb in there, maybe a piano style bulb or something. But it gives a nice red light, you know, just something to, I don't know, it's pretty dim, but, you know, it goes with all the other little accent lights. So that has a home now as well, because it was just kind of sitting around waiting for a place for it to be. And the reason I settled on here is there's not really much right here. You know, we have the traffic light, but it's not on, just for, you know, ambiance and whatnot. So this is perfect for that. And we got that up there. I don't think there's really anything else, but we did get all of it cleaned up.
I really do hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Leave a like down below and a comment. I do enjoy reading all of your comments. Of course, check out the other videos here on the screen. And until next time, thank you very much for watching.